brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today. Today's Ramsey Network app question is from Kathy.
This comes from Kathy. Is it still necessary to budget in your 60s and 70s? I feel like this is the old dentist quote, only brush the teeth you want to keep.
Oh!
Feels the same with money. Only budget the money you want to keep.
Oh.
Is that fair?
That's good.
If you don't want to keep it, don't budget it.
Here's the thing. Rachel talks about this better than anybody because I never talked about this before she came along and started talking about it on the air. And she
made it cool.
Well, she's a spender. She's had to figure out that the budget is actually a spending plan. When you have agreement on where your money's going to go, it lowers your stress level because it gives you permission to spend guilt-free on X or Y or Z. So if you're in your 60s and 70s and you have a good nest egg and you say, I want to go on a trip, but I feel guilty, or I want to buy a car, but I feel guilty, you can look down at your budget and go, wait a minute, I've got the money.
It's not impulsive. We planned for it.
It's, we built this nest egg to be able to do these things and to retire with dignity. And the budget is permission to spend because it says, hey, look, we've got our food, we've got our lights and water, the nest egg is not being bothered. We can do this. We can afford to go out and eat. We can afford to buy that clothing item, whatever it is you're doing. I don't care what it is, but it gives you permission to do the stuff without guilt because you know you're not messing up. And so it's an anxiety reliever. So I would recommend it.
Yeah. And as you get older, I hope, Kathy, that you guys are debt-free with a great nest egg to where budgeting it's a quick monthly budget meeting. It's not, pain-inducing. And you're going to have so much margin that the budget just becomes a fun spending plan versus we got to be real tight. We can't spend any of this.
Yeah.
And every dollar is a great way to do that.
This week, George, on the air, I've taken, with Jade and John and Ken and so forth, I've taken some calls that were really sad, that were like 71-year-old lady that called and had absolutely nothing. A 73-year-old guy that called and said, I'm working, I'm 73, but I don't have a single dime to my name. I've got Social Security. My wife has Social Security, so I got $3,700 a month coming in from that, and I'm tired, but I don't have a single dollar. I mean, he had like $4,000 saved. And those are sad calls in those situations. And I probably didn't stop during those particular episodes and do a good job of yelling at 20-somethings to take a lesson from that call. Mm. If you're listening and you're in you're 26 or you're 24 or you're 38 or whatever, and you hear a 75-year-old, 74-year-old call in tears, Dave, I'm tired. My body's breaking down. I cannot work anymore, and I have to because I don't have any. You should take that as God's signal to you to get your crap together.
That's a wake-up call.
That's your wake-up call. Ding, 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 ding. That's the cold shower right there that says, I don't want to do that. I was talking to this guy that one time that was multimillionaire, and he was kind of gruff. He probably even shouldn't even tell this story because he's kind of a grouchy old guy. But it was kind of funny, too, in a way, and kind of sad. He said, Dave, you know what an old man is that has money? I said, no, what? He goes, Grandpa. He said, you know what an old man is that's broke? I said, no, what? He goes, in the way.
Oh, gosh.
That's sad. That's pretty cold, too. But in that, and so I don't want to be working at McDonald's when I'm 70 unless it's the one I own in St. Thomas, right? I don't want to be a Walmart greeter and say I'm doing it for fun unless I own the Walmart. And I probably don't own it since Walmart owns it. So there. So, I mean, I
very different story when you work because you want to versus because you have to.
Give yourself some options by being able to say yes later by saying no now. Quit consuming every stinking thing you make. I mean, some of you out there make so much money, and you work really hard, and you're really smart, but you're dumb. You spend everything. And, when you hear one of these 70-somethings call in, you should take that as God's direct slap. And God is saying, don't do this. In the house of the wise are stores of choice food and oil, but a foolish man devours all he has. learn something from these. Don't just be entertained by this show is what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of wonderful or sad life lessons in this show. There's lessons in here about my family's all screwed up. I've had 3 of these calls this week. My family's all screwed up because the will got messed up. And, and my aunt stole my 90-year-old sister's money and all this garbage. And
family drama.
And all that is if you're listening to that's the reason you got tuned in right then. It was not an accident. It was not a coincidence. It's telling you to get a will. Get your will done. Get it done. Get over it. Mama Bear Legal Forms, or get with a lawyer and get your stinking will done. And make sure don't die with a bunch of little kids in the house and no life insurance. Get on the phone with Xander and get your life insurance. You ought to be listening to the stuff on this show and then going and doing it, because it'll change your life and the destiny of your whole family. And, man, when that stuff comes in, I don't stop and rail on it enough, because it kind of shames the person that I just talked to, and I don't want to do that. I mean, I'll pick on them and pick at them to get them to go help themselves. But, but man, it's so sad to take these calls from these folks that have worked their whole lives and they got nothing. And they're saying, I hope the government, which is well known for its ability to handle money, will take care of me. That's a bad plan. So if you're 32, you're 22, you're 42, and you're listening to this, straighten your butt up. I mean, come on, grow up. Save some dadgum money. Quit buying $784 car payments and wondering why your butt's broke. That's just stupid. Of course you're broke, because you're stupid. Stop it. Really, I mean, God almighty, because this is where you're going to end up, this sad person who doesn't have any, they don't have any money to eat. It's awful. It's awful. It's so sad. So don't just listen to the show for entertainment. There are life lessons in every one of these dadgum calls that are sending out signals to you 30 million people that are out there on YouTube, podcast, and talk radio. So for God's sakes, go do this stuff.
Yeah, if all you do is consume this show, you are missing out. You got to live it out. Don't say, all right, Dave, I've been listening to you for 20 years, never did the stuff, but it's entertaining. That's not the point.
Now you're part of the entertainment because you're stupid. Oh my gosh. For goodness sakes. No, don't be that caller. Don't be that one. Be the one that calls up on the Baby Steps Millionaires theme hour and says, I started this stuff 17 years ago and I got $8 million now. I've been living on less than I make for 40 years. It's not fancy, it's not sexy, but my family's taken care of, and I'm not having to call people for food. Come on, man.
I want my kid calling saying, hey, my dad left $10 million. What do I do with it?
There we go.
That's
$3.4 million.
There we go.
That's the one I want. Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.